Okay, so it looks like I built back-to-back Mustangs. My last video was the red, white, and blue 2018 Mustang here from the GT4 Tamiya kit. But in this video, we built the Gone in 60 Seconds original Eleanor. And I'll tell you what, it came out spectacular. Let's get into it right after the intro.
Come on in, pull up a chair. Got plastic dreams and chrome everywhere. Model building in retirement, turning memories into scale. Kit reviews and how-to action. Good old Ken will get you through.
Sponsored by Model Makers Workshop. Need parts for your next model project? Model Makers Workshop has you covered with the best aftermarket accessories around. And by Gaahleri, your one-stop shopping for all your airbrush needs. Hello, this is Ken, and thank you for tuning in to the Model Building and Retirement channel. So this is the conclusion, part 2 of a 2-part series on my building of the original Eleanor, the 1973 Mustang Fastback from Gone in 60 Seconds, original movie. Really a cool movie. It has like a 40-minute chase scene. They destroy like 95 cars or something like that. And Eleanor is the 71 Mustang, and it is one of the cars being stolen in the movie. And he gets in a chase because somebody tipped off the cops that he was going to steal this car. So it just gets obliterated along with a whole bunch of other classic cars, although they weren't classic back in the day. But what's really unique about this build that I wanted to do is I wanted to do the reg version. And what's really cool is the car is still bright and shiny and looks brand new, but it's heavily damaged and destroyed from all angles because of the chase. And that's kind of what I wanted to mimic here. So I think I pulled it off. I used the 1971 Revell Boss 351 kit and also the Revell Mach 1 kit from Diamonds Are Forever, just to use the dog dish hubcaps out of that kit. And some foil, 4,000 stick foil, and I'll have a link in my description where you can get all that stuff. A little bit of UV resin and some scale finishes, matching yellow paint and Tamiya black, and that's basically all I did. It's a curbside build. A little bit different in this video because usually my videos are a little bit more on the confident side, showing a tutorial of how I do something. In this case, there was a lot of guesswork, and you're going to hear me say I'm going to try this or I'll attempt that. In the end, it all came out pretty well. There was no sense in destroying other models to learn. I just decided just go for it. You know, I had the vision in my head and I was pretty confident I could pull it off, and I think I did. You'll see in the final reveal there. So let me know what you think, and hit the like and subscribe, or like and subscribe. Enjoy the video, folks, and we'll see you on the next build. Okay, so when we left off on part 1, I had finished fabricating all the foil pieces for all the body panels and also prepping the body. So now it's time to get this into primer, and I'm going to be using a self-etching primer. It's an automotive can that I've had around for like 25 years, but you can get it at any auto supply store, but it's going to promote adhesion. And then as far as the plastic model goes, I'm going to be priming that with Mr. Surfacer 1000. Okay, so we're outside, and I'm just using aerosol cans. It's just a lot easier, you know, for primer or whatnot, instead of cleaning out the airbrush. Besides that, the self-etching primer, I didn't have an airbrush form, and I didn't feel like decanting it. So anyways, we shot a couple coats of gray primer on there. We're going to let that cure, and then we're going to go directly to the spray booth. Okay, so now that that primer's been allowed to cure, we're going to shoot this with Scale Finishes base coat. And this is a 1973 Ford Code 6E medium bright yellow, which is supposedly an exact color match to the original Eleanor. So this is what they classify as an acrylic lacquer. Comes in 2 ounces because it's what they consider a special mix. Pretty thin, and gives you instructions. All you do is shake well and use 20 to 30 psi with a 0.3 to 0.5 needle and nozzle. And I'll be shooting about 20 psi with my 0.3. So we're going to get the base coat on there, and you know, yellow doesn't cover extremely well, so you know, we're going to probably put 2 to 3 coats on everything, and There's no real flash time in between, you know, maybe a couple minutes, if anything, if you put it on too wet. So let's go right to the booth and I'll show you how I put that on. Okay, so we're at the booth and we're going to start out putting the base coat on, and then we're going to let that sit for about 4 hours. But in this video, we're going to go directly to clear coat, so you're going to see the color going on and the clear coat while we play my favorite song, Airbrush Blues.
Well, I rolled into my workshop about 9:15. Got a fresh new model sitting and a paint scheme on my mind. Got my compressor humming like an old freight train at night. When that airbrush starts a singing, everything just feels right. Airbrush blues floating through the room, misty clouds of color chasing away the gloom. Airbrush blues, smooth as Tennessee wine. One gentle pull of the trigger and that model starts to shine. Mixed a little candy red with a touch of pearl white. Watch that old Mustang body come alive beneath the light. Every coat gets deeper, every pass gets clean, trying to build perfection from a plastic dream. Airbrush blues floating through the room, misty clouds of color chasing away the gloom. Airbrush blues, smooth as Tennessee wine. One gentle pull of the trigger and that model starts to shine. Mixed a little candy red with a touch of pearl white. Watch that old Mustang body come alive beneath the light. Every coat gets deeper, every pass gets clean, trying to build perfection from a plastic dream. Airbrush blues floating through the room, misty clouds of color chasing away the gloom. Airbrush blues, smooth as Tennessee wine. One gentle pull of the trigger and that model starts to shine.
Okay, so the yellow has been allowed to cure for about 24 hours or more. So I'm going to just give that a nice sanding here. Just get rid of the excessive orange peel before I tape off and do my black. And I also just distressed the tail panel a little bit. Just kind of nicked and dug it up with my X-Acto knife a little bit, because I'm not going to be using foil there, but I want it to look a little bit rough. So I'm going to sand this first. I'm going to start with 3/1000 Trizac. After using the Trizac 5000s, I went to 8000s grit and then ended up with 12,000s mesh cloth and just sanded that to a really nice, smooth, nearly glossy finish, and then finished off with my Meguiar's Plastex compound. So I am going to tape off for the black, starting with the body. So I need to mask off the back tail panel where the tail lights go is black, but also would not be typical of a Mach 1, but this was not a Mach 1, but this entire back end was blacked out. Usually there's a stripe if you have like a Mach 1 or whatever. And then the lower rockers from this body line down is blacked out. Okay, so I got everything masked off for my semi-gloss, so I'm going to be using Tamiya X18 semi-gloss black, and I'm going to mix that 1:1 with Mr. Color Leveling Thinner, and I'll be spraying 18 to 20 psi at the booth. So I'm just going to give everything a once over here and we'll meet you at the booth. Okay, so with the paint still tacky, I'm going to unmask carefully because this is the foil stuff. And I really didn't press down hard on my tape to mask because I knew it would be delicate to pull off. So the risk of bleed through is increased too. But as wrecked as the car is going to get, I don't think that's going to be a big problem. In fact, I didn't even use any fine line on these bigger pieces. I just used my frog tape. Okay, nice crisp line, that looks good. Okay, I'm gonna get everything else unmasked and I'll be back. Okay, so I've got everything painted, and I apologize, I should have put this on camera here, but I'm gonna try to figure out how to get this stuff attached. So I started with this door skin on this passenger side, and this is the one where I'd cut out an opening like you see here. If you look in the back, you can see there's an opening. So what I did is I laid super glue on the top and the bottom of the rocker here, and I've got some clothespins holding that to get it to stick. So my thinking is to attach these panels and then try to dent them. So I'm just gonna let that super glue set up there. And I think what I'm going to do here is reinforce the back of it here, because I don't want this stuff breaking free either. So I am going to put some UV resin glue into a little cap here and kind of seal these edges here. Okay, so I pour a little resin in a cup there, and I'm just going to spread this along the inside seam here. Okay, I'm going to hit it with the light. Okay, so I got the first piece on. Take a look at this quarter here. Okay, I am going to try to sand this top edge here so it kisses up to the carburetor. In hindsight, I probably should have just masked that off when I put my UV resin down and had the UV resin just a little bit lower. So I'm just trying to sand this profile down to where it kisses up to the carburetor. Okay, so I'm going to try the same thing I did on the door here. Get some glue right up along this edge here and on the rocker panel and back here. And then just try to get that into place and clamp it down. What I'm worried about is the seam on the top there showing too much. We'll just have to see how that comes out. So what's important is lining up the black line. So I'll clamp it there. I'll clamp it there. And then I'll just press across the top here. All Right now it doesn't look very pretty, but I'm hoping that once we get it all smashed up, it'll look its part. I think worst case scenario, if I have to, I'd go into some putty and just a repaint job after these things are attached is another possibility to try to blend the panels together better. But we're just gonna see how it goes. Okay, I'm just gonna let that set up for a little while. Okay, so you know, I have these two pieces glued on, and of course the back side is open. So here I just kind of like took my thumb and imprinted the door, got a nice little dent in there. So it kind of shows how that effect's gonna work. I'm gonna work that some more, but I wanna get all the panels on first. So I'm gonna do two things. I'm going to reinforce the back of this with UV resin glue, just like I did the door. And on fitting this front fender, I kind of hogged out and made these big old holes or whatnot to allow for some denting. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally cut out. I'll leave a glue area in front of the door. I'll leave a glue area across the top lip of the fender and down here by the parking light so that I have a place to glue to. But I'm going to hog out all this other stuff, which will allow more denting. So I'm going to just take my Dremel. Okay, so I'm just going to file any of that melted bumps off the outside here. Okay, so I'm going to glue that on all the way around the edges. One thing's for sure, when I'm done with this, I will know a better way to do it. But this is one of those projects where it's like, well, I don't think you can practice it all the way through to the end. So basically, this is the practice mule. And if it comes out great, perfect. And if it doesn't come out so great, it was an experiment. So, all right, I am going to get some glue on the edges. Okay, I'm gonna let that set up. Okay, so now I'm just testing this out and going along and trying to put some various dents into it. I've already started here a little bit and just using different tools. Like here's a popsicle stick here, and I can see in the back where I have room to really push. So I'm gonna get a good grasp of the model here and just kind of push that in. Get some nice little dents going there. Okay, here we've got some pretty substantial damage, so kicking in that wheel well a little bit there. I don't want to damage this front yet until I get the valance panel and the hood in place there. Get some nice dent here in the back. So it's really gained a lot of rigidity with that resin in the background, but that really kind of helped me. It's actually kind of difficult to get a good dent in there, but I think that's better than being so easy that you deform the entire panel. Just different shapes. So now I've got the back of this letter opener. There we go. That's a nice looking dent right there. Okay, here's a couple still shots. I think it shows those dents a little bit better. Really liking the way that's looking. I'm not happy with that seam on the top of the back there by the fastback. I'm going to make a correction there coming up. I'm gonna wait to destroy the front end until the model's completely assembled, because I don't think it's gonna fit onto the chassis until then. Plus the chassis is gonna actually help support the infrastructure of that. So, let's move on to fixing that seam. Okay, I was hoping that I could do this all without any kind of repainting, but everything looks good in my opinion. But this rear quarter where the seam was, that was just jumping out at me. So I am throwing some putty on there. I'll sand that all down, and I'll just have to do a little bit of touch-up paint on it. I don't think I'm going to do it on top of the doors here, because I don't think it's real noticeable, and I'm not done damaging that yet. But here where the seam was, pretty noticeable. So we're going to let that cure up, and then we'll do some sanding and see what it looks like. We'll be back. Okay, so my second coat of putty has dried and cured up enough that I will once again sand that down. Okay, I think I got that seam kind of the way I want it right now. So I am going to mask off and just dust in a little bit of yellow, because this base coat clear coat, you can just dust in where you need to. You don't have to paint the whole car. After that's been dusted in, then we'll clear, and there I can decide if I want to clear the whole car, which I might, because I can lock in my bare metal foil. I can lock in a lot of stuff there, or I could just mask off and just do this quarter. So I'm gonna mask that off, and I'll meet you at the booth and show you how I just dust in that paint a little bit. Okay, so we're at the booth, and my settings and everything are the same as when I painted the car, about 20 psi pressure, 0.3 needle and nozzle, and I just added a little bit of yellow into my bowl, shooting it straight out of the bottle with no thinning. And just lightly going over it multiple coats. I'm not worried about the finish as much as I am just getting the color good. And being that the putty is gray, it's kind of pretty easy to see that once that was no longer translucent, that I had enough coats on there. Okay, and with that touch-up paint still moist, or not cured yet, not dry yet, unmask. Okay, we're gonna let that cure up, and then we'll clear coat over it. So we'll be back. Okay, you may have noticed I cleaned up my desk, the bench here. Tell you what, it doesn't take long to get overloaded when you're doing all kinds of different multiple things at one time. So anyways, I had done my bare metal foil off camera, because I think you've seen that done enough times. But then I needed to clear coat where I spotted in the yellow where the putty was, and I decided to just mask off the black on the bottom, and I reshot clear over the entire car. So that's going to lock in my bare metal foil, and all the blistering paint and stuff that I had done here is now kind of locked in under that clear. So it glossed up really nice. And if you ever remember in the movie, in The Chase, that car is extremely shiny, like when it comes out of the car wash, even though it's all dented up like this. So I'm going to let this paint cure up a little bit, and then I'm going to polish out a little bit of dust in the roof, get rid of a little bit of orange peel, And then we're going to go into the glass because I've got to install some broken glass, and I'm going to show you how I do that coming up here. So we'll be right back. Okay, so I'm gonna, the windshield on the car was all cracked and stuff from the chase and the wrecks, and I think it even got shot at a couple times. So this is phone glass, protective glass, and there's a little plastic clear sheet on the top of this, and we are going to leave that in place. And what I did is I traced the windshield out on a piece of paper, and I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to trace that onto the glass. Okay, so I got my template traced out onto my glass here, and now what I'm going to use is a piece of paper towel, and I'm going to fold it over on that glass. And you notice I'm wearing a glove because I don't want to get any metal shards in my hand. And I'm just going to take my pliers here and kind of crunch. Okay, so now we got really nice spider webbing going on there. Okay, so now get some protective glasses on, and I'm just going to cut that along my trace lines. As I cut, okay, so now we got a nice piece of broken glass. And actually, this is not the piece that's going in the car because I just was doing very poor cameraman work and was totally out of screen. So I've already got a piece laid into the car, but this is the way I busted and cut it. So I want to just demonstrate that for you. It's my first attempt ever doing that. Okay, then what I did is I just took that glass and fed it down into the car, and I used a little bit of canopy glue in a cap with a paintbrush, and I had just kind of dabbed the glue on one side. So I let that set up for a little bit of time now, but now I can press the other side in better. Okay, now I'm gonna press this glass down on the other side here. And actually, I think what's gonna be easier is to use some UV resin glue in this case. So I'm gonna pour some of this in a cup, because I need an instant hold basically. So what I can do here is I'll take a toothpick, dab it in my glue, have my light standing by, and I'm going to press this down and get some of that UV resin glue right up to the edge of the glass. And I'm just going to approach it little by little, so I'm just going to tack it down in one spot. I'll hit it with the light. Now I'll press it toward the top of the roof here. Okay, once again, I'll hit it with the light. Okay, so I got that pretty well secured in there now. Okay, so now I'm just gonna reach in here and try to just shatter this glass some more. Okay, that worked. So I'm gonna drill another hole right here. Ow! Drilled myself. Ouch. Okay, there we go. We got some nice bullet holes, if you will. I drilled right into my finger. Okay, I think that looks really good. Okay, so I just need to glue the little quarter windows in the back here. I'll be back. Okay, so before I can get the chassis in there, I had to get this tail panel in here with tail lights, and I'll have a picture above there. But, you know, the car was banged up in the back too. I didn't distress it as much probably as the movie car there. But if you notice on the tail lights, I cut the lights and I put some bare metal foil behind them and drill little holes in it to give it the appearance that the glass is broken. And we got the bullet holes there and some scratches and stuff like that. Okay, then I assembled the chassis here. I had somebody kind of complain on one of my recent videos that I didn't show the details of every part of the build. But you know, each one of my builds, I try to show what's the most important subject matter of that build. So, for example, this one, it's all about the wreckage. So I'm not going to show you how to build a chassis or an engine. I'm just not going to go that way. I want to concentrate on both the paintwork and the damage to the car. And I think when I did that red, white, and blue Mustang, I think I got criticized there because I didn't show the assembly. I just had still shots of each step along the way, and somebody called me lazy. Well, there was nothing lazy about it. I'm not trying to teach you how to glue on that video. I am trying to teach you how to do your own decals and paint job, red, white, blue paint job. So bear that in mind, you know. And if you do want to see full detailed tutorial on building, I do have a whole bunch of builds that are done that way. So, you know, like this one though, it's not all about, well, how did you glue the exhaust pipes on? I'm not teaching that right here. In fact, I'm not teaching anything on this video because it's all learn as you go. All right, so I am now ready to get this chassis married up to the car. Okay, so I'm very carefully struggling to get this chassis into the car. Always my worst part. Okay, it's fitting there, it's fitting there. Okay, let me get some glue up front here in the apron. Okay, I'm just going to hold that for a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to glue this part of the chassis. And I'll hold that down for a little bit. Okay, then one more thing is you glue the top radiator support together. Okay, we're going to let all that glue set up for a little while here. Now I have to hide this grill for the most part, but it needs to be there, so taking a little silver pen here in the headlight buckets. Because at the end of the movie, it didn't have any glass headlights left. But you can see the buckets kind of aimed down. So I've got to figure out how to get that installed, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to chop this whole grill thing up because too much of it's being exposed in the movie car. You could barely see it at the end of the crash scenes, so I am going to cut this left bucket off. Once again, I'm improvising and can't be sure if I'm doing it right or wrong. It's just that I know that I can't go with the way it was gonna look. Okay, we're gonna get a little super glue in this corner and a little on that bottom. Okay, I'm gonna let that set up. I decided to totally separate that headlight. Okay, at this point I'm able to put that other front fender on, and I kind of just held that in place, and once I held that in place real good, I turned it upside down and I poured a bunch of UV resin underneath and put a light on there. Okay, we'll pull the light away, and that gave it a real nice bond. Okay, I'm gonna, before I do anything here, I want to get the hood on. Okay, I just got to find out how I'm going to attach that hood. Okay, and here I'm going to cut away the front hood latch assembly so that I can bend that hood way down from all the smashing that goes on in the collisions. That was in the way, so that's what I'm doing there. Okay, I had to cut away some of that hood support there, where the hood latch would be, because I want to bend that downward. Okay, I'm just trying to shape this. And we're going to pour some resin in there. Glue that front end on there, and I'm going to let that glue for about 3 minutes. Okay, that glued pretty good. Now I just got to figure out where to glue the rest of this. So I'm kind of just bending and gluing with UV. Okay, just let that finish its 3 minutes. We'll be right back. Okay, so now I need to get the tires on there before I go too far, to make sure I'm going to be able to fit around them. So let me assemble my tires and wheels and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm working around this wheel here. So if you look at the picture I have above, that wheel really sticks out. So this fender's really pushed in. So I'm just going to kind of manipulate that, bend it a little bit. Take my tweezer here and bend this fender backward right here a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to get some super glue in here on this bottom of this fender. I'm improvising as I go, folks. Get a little Insta-Set in there. Pretty happy with that look. I need to try to just get a little more clearance here on the front wheel. Okay, I'm not going to mess with that anymore. Now I need to get some glue in here. So I think I'm going to go with some super glue right in this spot here. And a little dab of Insta-Set to set that. Good. Okay, now I think before I get too far, I need to get this bottom valance pan in place. Okay, I think I'll get some super glue right in here. I'm going to get some resin down inside here. Okay, I'm going to hit it with the light again. Okay, let's see how that held. Pretty good. Okay, so now I need to swing this around and get it to attach on the other side. Okay, I like that. I just have to find a way to get it glued in. Okay, I'm gonna have to take this off camera for a minute so I can see what I'm doing and glue that into place. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm trying to fit the grill in there for the little bit that's gonna be shown, but I want it to be pushed way back inside there. Okay, I just gotta figure out how to glue that in. Okay, I gotta let that dry up, touch up that black paint, and then I can form this stuff down and around again. Close that opening up a little bit, and then I can find a way to get that bumper in there. Okay, now I'm trying to crumple this front corner down a little bit more. Looking pretty good. All right, so let's see. I gotta figure out that bumper. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm trying to attach my foil bumper. So I got some UV glue over here. Talk about a glue bomb. This is going to be a glue bomb because it's a lot more solid than I thought it would be, though, you know, with all this foil stuff. But that reinforcement that I did really paid off. I mean, you can handle this model like you can pretty much any model. Okay, I got a little more resin right in there. I got to remember to put the hood pins on though. Okay, very good. So now I got to get this bumper attached over on this side. Okay, get a little bit of UV resin over here just to hold it like a tack weld for at the moment. Okay, so I'm looking at the photo that I have above here. Give me guidance. Ooh, I am really, I'm loving this. All right, so found another spot where I can glue. Don't want that bumper coming off with any kind of handling. Okay, I'm gonna get the other wheels and tires on there before I do any more wreckage. So we'll be back. I'm gonna try something too. I got some Tamiya X18 semi-gloss blackout because the car lost the beauty ring on a couple wheels during the chase. Well, these are one piece. They're not meant to be separated. So what I'm gonna try to do is paint some semi-gloss black on that trim ring to make it look like it's just a black rim. Not bad though. Let's see how that semi-gloss dries up, but to me that looks like it's a rim that lost its beauty ring compared to this one, which is full intact, just like in the movie car. This front wheel kept it all, but the back wheel lost it. So I'm gonna let that dry up and we'll be back. Okay, so this has been pretty tedious to try to film or record while I'm doing, because it's a lot of learning as I go. So I apologize if I didn't catch a lot of this on camera, but got the mirrors and door handles installed, and that's just glued on. Put the hood latches on there. Did some more damage. Now on the wheels, pretty cool, because these hubcaps are dog dish hubcaps. They come with the Revell Gone in 60 or James Bond 007 Diamonds Are Forever car. They come in that kit, and it's all one piece. So the beauty ring and the center cap are all one piece. But I just tried an experiment here, and I used some Tamiya semi-gloss and just hand painted the outside trim ring black to make it look like the trim ring fell off and you just have a black rim there. I think that came out pretty good. And same on this side. Got the full hubcap on the front, but on the back another dog dish. Quite extensive body damage on the front there. So next I'm going to work on duplicating the actual license plate of the movie car. I'll have a picture up above there, but I used a California 73 plate and gave it to ChatGPT and gave it the plate number from the movie, and it came up with that perfect license plate. So I'm going to print that out on cardstock, size it down to appropriate size, and attach that to the car. I think that would be just a cool little addition. Okay, so printed out my license plates, and I use these little license plate frames that I got from N&L East. So there you go, 614 Henry Sam Ocean. Just like the original Eleanor. And then on the rear valance pan, same thing. 614 Henry Sam Ocean. So I'm going to get that glued in, and then I got to just figure the back bumper. Okay, so I put a little dot of super glue here to try to attach this valance panel. Okay, we're just going to let that set up for a little bit. Okay, then the rear bumper, I just took a candle or two and heated that up a little bit and bent it and deformed it just a little bit. This is the last piece that goes on there before the reveal, actually. So I'm going to attach that. And I'm going to use good old-fashioned Mod Podge. It's a little bit thicker than the canopy glue, and it dries clear. So what I'm going to do is just be generously applying the Mod Podge to where that bumper is going to sit. Okay, I'm going to let that just set up for a while. Okay, last but not least is my little decal that I want to put on my sign, like so. Okay, normally I would just take a cotton swab. Well, I'll still do that. Just kind of rolling it out. And I'm just taking a tissue. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm going to get one on the other side too. Just another small detail here, but I had cut off that headlight from the grill on the one side, and I decided that a dangling headlight would look good. So I got a little piece of wire, and I used my little pin vise and drilled a hole in the back of this. So I'm just going to put a little dot of super glue on my wire. Okay, I'm gonna let that just set up for a few minutes, and then I'll try to attach that to the front someplace and have it just dangling out there. Okay, then I took my pin vise and I drilled far inside there to about where the headlight would be, and I'm gonna just shove this wire. I'm gonna leave it long because I can just push the excess inside that hole. Okay, so I had pulled out the wire core on that piece, but I put it back in on the end here so I can feed that through the hole because it's just too flimsy. So let me try to get back in here with my tweezers. Now this should be the official last piece of the kit, of the build. Okay, I think I'm just gonna let that dangle there. Okay, I'm gonna let that glue set up, but I think that's gonna look kind of cool there. That's just an artistic touch because that is not actually happening on the real car, although everything is badly damaged. So, all right, we're gonna be back for the final reveal. I'm gonna clean up all my mess, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Okay, and here we are at our 360 spin table, and I gotta tell you, this was a fun build. Once again, kind of stepping out of my comfort zone, doing a lot of unknowns. And I do apologize, in this video, instead of a straightforward tutorial, a lot of it was I was going to try this and I'm going to try that or whatever. In the end, it all worked, so we kind of discovered our way together here. In hindsight, I think everything that I did really worked out pretty well. The biggest things is cutting the foil. I think if I would have just put a lighter coat of resin on the back, that would have kept it stiff enough, but I went like 2 coats, got a little too stiff. Not a big problem. Secondly, when I did the rear quarter, I should have probably puttied and glued and smoothed all that out before I went to paint. Because what I did is I painted all the separate parts and then installed them on the car, which worked well, except for the back quarter panel where there was a seam. The fenders and the doors were separately parts, and they're naturally separated by body gaps or whatnot. So That was probably the biggest part of it there. Really did enjoy the process. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some other slide shots of this, and I'll even put up some comparisons of the actual chase car.